Okay, we are live. Hello everyone, welcome to our finale webinar of the exclusive Cloud FinOps webinar series from Amadis. We have started this webinar since June, addressing on diverse topics on Cloud FinOps. Let's wait for a minute for others to join. All right, I think it's good for us to start now. Thank you so much on behalf of Team Amadis. We express our sincere gratitude for your continued support and engagement throughout our webinar series. So with that said, let me introduce let our guest for today. Back again, Madhukumar, founder and CEO of Amadis Technologies. The topic for today's session is Cloud FinOps as a Service by Amadis. It's complete coverage of Amadis FinOps, Cloud FinOps as a Service. So let me hand over the session to Madhukumar.
Okay, thank you, Sindhu. Sorry for the delay. I'm glad we are doing this series. And as you mentioned, I'm happy to talk to everyone in the call. This is the final series. And today it's exciting to me because I'll be talking about some of the experiences we had while deploying CloudCADI from the beginning of the year. We had listed the product in the marketplace. Consumption by managed app is improving. So, I think one area which we planned at the beginning of the year, I've been thinking about doing Cloud FinOps as a service. The industry moves towards two types of FinOps for customers. There are a bunch of product vendors like us who has established product-driven Cloud FinOps. But customers have this dilemma of, hey, I'm buying a couple of products. A lot of products are giving recommendations, which one to do, which is the best, what is safe for me to implement. So all these questions need to be answered. So in that sense, while products give thoroughly actionable recommendations, there are times when customers I've seen practically a couple of times coming and saying, hey, you know what, we want to do this, we want to implement, we are busy doing so many things. There is definitely a coordination required. Can you own up and execute the whole thing? So that's the genesis of creating Cloud FinOps as a service model, where Amadis will provide customers the product, along with the product, an experienced practitioner who looks at the recommendations, gets the confirmation from customer and saying, hey, we are going to implement it. This is the time we will implement. Then how do we ensure that the FinOps gets fully, made beneficial to the customers? So that's the summary of the talk today. I have 3 to 4 slides. I'll talk about the process, the methodology, the entire Cloud FinOps as a service, and we'll take it up questions in the long run. Okay. One small slide, I thought I'll put it up. This is where most enterprises look at how do we implement FinOps. Now, I use the word at the top, complete ownership. When Amadis comes in and does FinOps as a service, the specialty or my team, experts from our group, will be owning up the entire FinOps implementation. Here, if I want a little bit of storytelling, most of the cloud migrations over the past 3-4 years, either they did a lift and shift, they did a planning, they had an estimation, and they are running the workloads on cloud. Different types of workloads. Could be compute, could be storage, could be data workloads, and off late, even no call can be, no webinar can be complete if I don't use the word generative AI. But in that sense, I also want to say that every corporation, every company looks at how do I implement Gen AI for me. So there is an extraordinary amount of work goes on in engineering and architecture for cloud workloads, which has matured over the last 5 to 7 years. So organizations are, thoroughly looking at that. Now comes the question of corporate finance, the third box in the right side. If you look at, they were doing budgeting for the whole company. They look at IT budgets, IT asset management, FinOps, everything. And there is one area which gives them a slight changes. Hey, the cloud spend is unpredictable. The question is not efficiency or not the FinOps. There is a little bit of variance happening on cloud spend on a month-on-month basis. Maybe the cloud center of excellence is putting more workload on cloud, or it could be that little bit of different configurations. So this particular question, one single question, that the cloud spend from the engineering department is unpredictable. And very rarely or very often these questions come. They overshot the budget. Maybe they corrected it in the next couple of quarters. But the question of overshooting budgets became an issue. And engineering and architecture team, I don't want to use the word finance doesn't understand. While I put that, it's a more of a nudging point. It's not the understanding, but it's more of finance saying that, oh, you know what, you had a plan. Why are we not estimating? That's exactly where this FinOps were. So historically, all organizations created multiple products. They brought in practitioners. They created FinOps as a center of excellence within Cloud Center of Excellence, or between the IT asset management. And this is where when we as Amadis come in, we are launching this new service line where our own IP product, which is CloudCADI, the unique set of CloudCADI thing, which is, I use these words in the last 3-4 webinars, many of you heard, non-intrusive. That means our product runs within the customer's environment. Zero data out, zero data in. This is a concept which is extremely, extremely important for large enterprises where they are creating FinOps and efficiency engineering teams in-house. And that was our vision from the day one. We created this non-intrusive agentless model, followed by the entire product runs within the cloud native logs and teams. And the one another element you saw in the third webinar, I think, Sindhu, we talked about this. CloudCADI creates a Cloud FinOps index. It's a target value driven. So our product learns it and says that, hey, your index is 35, a number from 0 to 100. That means you have more opportunities to optimize your cloud environment. So we drive this optimization to a number of 70 or 80th percentile for different industries, different groups. So that way, this FinOps, which is non-intrusive, cloud native, target value driven, exclusive way of doing CloudCADI as a product, naturally puts it into giving this FinOps as a service for customers. So that's a big advantage. And before I go to the next, how we are doing it, I just want to recollect this FinOps as an operational framework and a practice. This is right from the FinOps Foundation, where all organizations are part of. It's generating the business value of cloud. And 2-3 points I put it there. It's data driven, common data between all departments, and extremely, extremely important that it's between engineering, finance, and business teams. This is the glue. So that's where Amadis FinOps experts will bring in their product as well as expertise to the customers to implement Cloud FinOps as a service with complete ownership. That's the launch we are doing. This is November of this year. So we will be formalizing it, launching it. We are doing a beta testing with one client where we are doing a complete end-to-end. It's not only they license the product, they do the FinOps as a service. Okay. Sundu, if I go to the next slide. Um, Within that, we have only two more slides. When we do FinOps as a service, the fundamental things, deliverables our team will execute for customers will be the entire landscape of cloud. The product, some of you who have attended earlier seminars will remember our observability pane. Then we have the advisory pane. Then we have the settings pane. We have multiple single pane approach for the landscape. So within the landscape, as a service, we will look at all your cloud service providers, whether you consume resources from hyperscalers like Azure or AWS or Google or Oracle. All the service provider landscape will be collected, provided to all the departments. Your accounts, your resource groups, your clusters. More important is software as a service and PaaS. This is fairly complex. If you don't tag well, you may have, when you look at the area down, you will see challenges in terms of charging it back or show back. So the entire landscape definition, collecting the data, looking at data issues, including fixing some of the tags. There are elements where you might have done 100% tagging, 100% allocations. If not, the Amadis practitioners will walk into each of your flows, talk to your team, ensure that the landscape is full in nature. With that, we will cover 5 complete ownership points. Who owns the cloud resources? Which department is using it? For what duration the resources are used? Which global region the cloud resources being consumed? And what are the cost variances we see on a 90-day, 180-day, or a 30-day, or a monthly, weekly variances? So this 5 bullet points create the basis of providing Cloud FinOps as a service. And with those data sets, we will drive decisions. Now question comes, okay, you got the observability, you got the data sets, you got the practitioner walking in, giving you the full clarity of all the FinOps as data points. Can we use those data for driving not only decisions and completing the decisions? Now that's where this transparency, accountable ownership comes. The entire product gives, we call it as self-service analytics dashboards. These are multiple views. We create it, send it to each department, ensure that all the actionable insights for usage optimization. The most important is the timelines for change. You know that, hey, I have a particular change. If I do as early as this weekend, I may save some money or I may realign some cost. So the timelines for change is extremely, extremely crucial because you have business change going on. You have changed the business coming up. You have keep the business running issues. During, for example, one of our top retail client, during November, December, they say that, hey, we are actually oversizing. We want to provision for a higher workload. At that point in time, optimization is not in their keyhole. Running it efficiently becomes a key point. At that time, so you may have a change. You watch it, you note it down, put it in the back burner, continuously look at it, and then decide the timelines, get it approved, move the change. That ownership will reside within the Amadis practitioner. And then calculate the return on investment of all these changes we did. Certain changes yield positive results on cash. With this, when you do Cloud FinOps self-remediation, at times, you may even oversize cloud resources. In the interest of doing FinOps, there is a possibility that you're straining the system more. If utilization becomes higher and higher, there is a remote possibility that the user experience may go down. So in order to avoid user experience, at times we will even oversize, put the efficiency engineering back in and calculate the return on investments. So these steps, when you do on a weekly basis, daily, weekly, monthly, cloud Amadis FinOps practitioner will provide the showback, will calculate as per cost centers, projects, customers, accounts, and contracts based on the customer's P&L changes, especially cost centers and projects, because you will be taking some resource from this group, that group. So that way, taking the chargeback and detecting anomalies and traces, all these three things in a regular basis and acting on those recommendations will be Amadis' responsibility. So as a company, when we walk in and say that, hey, I have great tool, great product to do FinOps, we also commit to you and say that we will execute it, and the end-to-end execution, you as a customer will be involved in pure decision making. I call it as human in the loop for the end-to-end automation. The product does automations, we will bring in practitioners, we will bring in everything, and the total ownership of FinOps as a service will be done. This one, we are doing the beta testing. We'll be launching it in our marketplace very quickly. Most probably before the end of the year, every customer can get it directly from either from marketplace or they can come to us. And with this, we, for the past 4 or 5 years, as we would have seen, talked about it, we will bring the industry best practices to customers. And we will also be watchful of continuous improvement, because when you try to automate as much as in the product, there is an element of practitioner, there is an element of knowledge. This has to be fed back to the customers continuously. So that is why we are launching this Cloud FinOps as a service. Okay. Now with this, I just want to sum up with maybe a 3-minute, one more slide, and then we can open up for question answers. Okay, this is a very interesting way of putting it up as a Amadis FinOps as a service. When I said, because most customers are struggling to say, hey, I migrated to cloud, I'm using cloud resources, I have done a lot of rate optimizations, I'm a best negotiator for all these resources. What's my contribution margin? Am I getting better contribution from cloud investments compared to I was in data center, or I have in on-prem? Because fully depreciated assets in on-prem at times can provide you a financially very lucrative value, saying that the machines are priced very low and I'm running a higher utilization, I'm getting it. But the time to change, if you want to introduce new modules, if you want to introduce new services, if the sales is pushing you to do certain new projects, can you do it in on-prem services? It's very difficult. Like right example of Gen AI. The generative AI, federated generative AI, if you want to implement, you have to have a service-oriented architecture. Otherwise, the synthetic data may not work. So calculating cloud contribution margin for every contract, every project, every customer, and I put up the word vertical, it's more of a P&L or a industry group or sales or finance group. So the cloud contribution margin calculations will be done by Amadis FinOps experts and will be submitted to them on a regular basis. The biggest element, products are used to optimize, but once you start optimizing, you had a budget, you had an extra numbers, and suddenly with this optimization for the next year, you may want to run it with a lower budget. This has extreme positives on finance team. They love the budgeting to be tightened up, but it gives a little bit of risk and planning exercise for the engineering team. Hey, is my budget planning based on usage, or am I planning based on my cloud rate optimization with providers? You look at hyperscalers, they are coming up with different, compute on Intel or AMD as well as Photon. There is multiple way they are bringing up prices. So you can optimize through rates as well, rates and volume discounts. They have come up with values of committed use discounts or reserved instances. So when you plan a capacity, it is extremely, extremely crucial that you should know that I'm planning based on using my resources, which is one element, one line item. Cloud rate optimization is another line item. Third line item should be based on your savings rates, effective savings on rates. And the last one, I put up the usage optimization, between which you drive the entire cloud environment to maybe a 70th percentile utilization or 60th, 80th percentile utilization. so that you can be confident that you're not part of this industry survey where people come up and say that cloud investments are 20 to 30% cloud waste, and all these words are used by analysts. These are all coming up because of capacity planning not thoroughly done by usage, cloud rate, effective savings, and usage. And the last one is cloud unit economics. We are launching unit economics within the product. The latest version, I think 3.1, did not have unit economics. By November, when we issue our CloudCADI in the marketplace, there will be a unit economics pane. For the time being on testing, we are using this unit economics per customer, per user, and environment. These are the tags. Generally, everybody has it. There is an option for users to look at telemetry units. Which telemetry unit to decide, customers have the choice. So that way, cloud unit economics will be a calculatable value changing on a regular basis. People don't have to do it on Excel sheets and calculate and everything. CloudCADI will do it for them. And by giving this cloud contribution margin, capacity planning, and cloud unit economics, CloudCADI and Amadis practitioners, my team is all excited to drive sustainable cloud financial value for customers. The biggest issue in the last probably 2 quarters, if you look at, there are news of repatriation. There are fear of losing out because of cost issues. So I think this entire proliferation of compute usage for, let's say, generative AI or things like that is making customers to think harder on cloud investment. Is it yielding results? And invest on FinOps products, as well as possibly look at companies like us to do FinOps as a service. So that way, I with that single line of sales pitch, driving sustainable cloud value for customers. Sindhu, thank you very much. If there are questions, I'll answer. And otherwise, we'll take it up from here. All yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhu, for your insights on the profile of Amadis and what are the capabilities of Amadis in terms of cloud FinOps as a service, what the team of Amadisians can do for the clients if they are looking out for cloud cost optimization. Thank you so much. Audience, with this, we are closing our 5-part webinar series, but we are open to all your questions, online and offline. Do reach out to us to the contact details. I'm making it visible now. Yeah, do reach out to us to the contact details on the screen. We are open to hear all your cloud cost optimization challenges. We are more than happy to solve your cloud cost optimization issues. With this, thank you so much for all your support. And that's it. Thank you so much. Have a great time ahead.